delightful, and oh so soothing. It's Sacramento Smooth Jazz.
Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Today, our weekly artist spotlight shines on the multi-talented Rebecca Jade. In the world of contemporary jazz and beyond, Rebecca's name resonates with a beautiful and harmonious blend of tradition and innovation. Raised in a home where music was a language all of its own, she has crafted a career that speaks volume of her passion and versatility. Off stage, Rebecca's love for sports, motorcycles, and classic cars showcases her personality and diverse interests, and we'll talk about that. Rebecca's journey has seen her weave magic with some of the most celebrated musicians globally, from touring with the iconic Sheila E. to gracing the stage at the 2020 Academy Awards alongside Sir Elton John. Her experiences are as diverse as they are impressive, and her presence is a staple on the Dave Koz cruises, and her collaborations with many artists accentuate her unique flair. And her latest album, A Shade of Jade, featuring tracks with Dave Koz, has captivated audiences, blending jazz and R&B, even soul, into a sound that's uniquely hers. Stay tuned as she shares her musical journey and some behind-the-scenes stories, we hope, from her illustrious career. Rebecca, welcome to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. How are you today?
I am well, Michael. Thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you for joining us. I know you have been so busy. We've been talking for the last couple of months, and you are just so busy. So I'm glad. I clasp my hands in prayer right now. I'm so glad that you found some time that we can have today to share a little bit about you with our audience today. Yeah.
I'm very honored. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's get right to it. You are an amazing vocalist. When people hear your name, people hear your voice, they're just amazed. So when did this start? As a child? I mean, what happened out the womb? Talk to us.
Yeah, basically, I come from a musical family. My mom is also a singer, and my dad can hold a note too. I got to give him props as well. But my mom, growing up, she sang with her father and her brother. So my mom and my uncle and my grandfather were a singing trio when she was coming up as well. And my grandfather also traveled and sang and was a singer of folk songs and told stories. And so it's very much generational. So I'm just grateful that I get to kind of carry on what I would consider as a bit of a family legacy in a way. I'm very grateful.
You know what they say, you become what you hang around the most. If that's a representation of truth, then we know how your family is. Just amazing. That is awesome. Mom and dad and everything. That's just great. When it comes to the musical influence, what were the less obvious influences that helped shape you?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I think a lot of people maybe wouldn't pair with me something along the lines of like a classical music. My mom loves classical music. And when I was younger, she exposed me to like Mozart. And, you know, I'm not super big into classical, but like one of my favorite movies is Amadeus. And I just love, you know, the soundtrack that went with the movie. And that's definitely a style of music that people probably wouldn't assume that was an influence for me. And then, of course, you know, like just classic rock is also a big favorite of mine. And, you know, the R&B and classic rock kind of have a little bit of a meld, like the Michael McDonald's, and Three Dog Night is one of my mom's favorite singing groups that she exposed to me, you know, a long time ago. So along with, of course, the great classical jazz artists, Billie Holiday, but that's probably a little bit more on the nose that, you know, a bit expected. But Billie Holiday, Sade, Whitney Houston was a big influence for me as well. But I would say probably like classical and kind of classic rock were big influences that people might not assume were an influence.
Right. You got me at Three Dog Night. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So, you know, listening to your music, I listened to it and I'm like, wow, that's a unique song. That's a unique track. And then I think sometimes, was that a personal experience? You know, I want to know how this came to be. So when it comes to your creative process, walk us through that. Is it something that's personal or something that you know someone's gone through?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of all the above. I'm very proud of this record that A Shade of Jade, because it's kind of my first album that I wrote all the lyrics and co-produced the record with an amazing musician producer named Carnell Harrell. He's out of Los Angeles, and he really helped me put like music behind all my lyrics. But a lot of these lyrics I've had in like a book that I've just kind of carried around for many years. Some of them are personal experiences, but a lot of them are just like, you know, things I think everybody kind of deals with when it comes to relationships and love and heartbreak. I definitely am just a sucker for like love songs and like heartbreak songs. I don't know why, but I'm just really drawn to that. So I think I don't know where that comes from, but I just know that I kind of tap into that part when it comes to my songwriting at the moment. I'm hoping to kind of expand outside of that, but I'm just a sucker for just beautiful love songs and heartbreak songs. There's something about that and the tugging of the soul and the heart, that I don't know why I'm attracted to that, but I am.
I think I could speak on behalf of all of us that we're thankful that you are attracted to that, because when I hear tracks like Please Come Home or Thankful, you can feel this emotion and it's like, oh, did she pull that? I'm over here asking questions as I'm listening to the song. It's like, wow, that was just really unique. So being someone that listens to music a little bit more often than the average person, I will listen to it over and over again, different parts that hear emotion. So let me ask you something. So when you're singing your music, whether it be on stage or just in the studio, explain the energy between, I know the people can give off energy that kind of helps out, but when you're in the studio, what's the difference between you being in the studio versus the stage? How do you feel?
Oh, that's a good question. The studio is such a different element than being on stage because, you don't have an audience. So there's not that to draw on. But also what people might not realize is the microphone picks up everything. So any little flaws, any missed notes, that it's all picked up on the mic. Whereas, kind of when it's live, there's an element that's that it's raw, so that any quote unquote flaws are really kind of acceptable because it's like you're in the moment and you're feeling like this energy at the moment, you're having this feeling. But when you're in the studio, I feel like it's very personal because it's just you and you hear the track. And so it's very much an introspective approach. But then you have to be cautious of if you do make a mistake, okay, now I have to kind of replace that mistake in the moment and try to have that same energy as if you didn't have a flaw when you did it the first time, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, so it's like, it's very much a different approach because there's the plus side is you can always do it over and over again versus a live show, whereas, you have kind of one take at it and just hope that you do great, So there's so many different elements when it comes to a live performance and being in the studio. So I do love recording in the studio because I also love like recording my own background vocals and arranging vocals and stuff like that. So it's a totally different experience than a live performance.
And you have a lot of experience singing background as well for a number of
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I've had a really cool experiences. I've done a lot of recording sessions for just singing background vocals on random projects that, people hire me to do them, not because it's, like I have Rebecca Jade on my track or anything like that. It's like, hey, she has great experience in the studio, and I come up with harmonies and on the spot, that type of thing, and try to really blend my voice to match the style of the track, and those can be a variety. It's not always like R&B or neo soul. It can be, I've done rock songs and I've done, funk stuff and Latin. I actually did a whole bunch of projects singing in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I used to live in Puerto Rico when I was a kid. So I was fully bilingual when I was little. And then we moved to California and I didn't speak it. So I lost it, but I actually can still have like the Spanish dialect when I say the words, even though I don't know what I'm saying. So I still have the vibe, yeah, and I've done quite a few projects singing on recordings for Luis Miguel, who's a big Latin star, and so I know his producer, and he's brought me in to sing on a bunch of projects. I've done that for a few years, so that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've had quite a variety of styles and that I sing. I'm very grateful for that, and so I've done that quite a bit. And it's back to my record. I love that I can, because of those experiences, I think it helps me to be able to provide that for my own work too. So I was very grateful.
You still got the vibe. You still have the vibe. Mm-hmm. Nice. Now, you've worked with a number of artists throughout your career. Are you able to share something that's kind of stood out in a positive light, of course, that's really impacted you and how you perform, how you go about your career? Something, I'm just thinking out loud here. I like to ask that particular question. What stood out besides nervousness? I know sometimes people say, man, I was nervous when I was on stage with such and such or whatever. I've heard so many different answers. So what experience do you have that really stood out?
Well, I love sharing how I've been in the world, how I kind of came into the Dave Koz realm. I think that's been a really special story for me. And so I was brought in, I was literally started in the party band. If anybody's ever been on the cruise, there's all these great artists that come on, and then the late night party is such a vibe, and the band is just killing. And one year I was brought in 2016 was the first year that I was brought in. They said, hey, we need a female singer. Can you come? I was like, yeah, my background for a long time was top 40 cover bands. And so that was my wheelhouse. And so I came in to be in the party band, and that was like strictly my role. And I was starting to just get love from Dave and like some of the other artists. And then I was given more responsibilities to kind of do my own show, sing background vocals for artists on their shows. Kenny Lattimore was one of the first ones I think I did. And next thing I know, I'm just given more and more responsibility. Now I'm doing my own shows on the cruise. And then one year, Dave just said, hey, at that point, I would say he was my friend. He wasn't just my employer, and now he's like, I love you and I love your journey. I love your voice and I love your energy. And that's when he first invited me to join him on his Christmas tour as an artist, and so I just encourage anyone who is on their path that, you just never know where these blessings might come from, and just stay the course. If you believe in yourself and your craft, and stay the course, because you never know where. Never in a million years would have guessed for me being in the party band that would have turned into me becoming my own artist, and him just showing me so much love and feeding into me and helping kind of in a way give validity to myself as an artist, even though I didn't need it, but it was nice because he did, other people see me in a higher light. You know what I mean? So
yes, absolutely.
It's a trip, and because of him, actually, because of being on that cruise is how I started touring with Sheila E. And that's just, because of that, it's just opened so many doors. Like I said, Sheila E. and then just touring with a bunch of people and traveling the world, getting to share music. So it's amazing. I'm still pinching myself.
Right. Well, you mentioned stay the course. Really speaks of, when someone's in any business, but particularly the music business, and they feel that they haven't reached a certain plateau, a certain level. The mantra is stay the course, stay true to yourself, and keep pushing. Don't give up, cave in, or quit. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, 100%. I love telling people my favorite quote, and could trust me, this industry is no joke. It has its ups and downs. You're never guaranteed anything. Your last show, technically, I forget how they say it. Like, you're kind of technically unemployed after your last performance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
And but one of my favorite quotes that I swear has kept me going over the years. It's because there's been plenty of times I go, man, I don't know if this is for me, and then I'll get these beautiful little reminders along the way that go, nope, you're on the right path. Little steps up, and events like this, or huge events like the Academy Awards with Sir Elton John, that kind of thing. My favorite quote is, many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. So I just sit there and I go, okay, I can't give up. I feel like something, I don't know what it is, but something is around the corner that's meant for me. And I just got to keep at it, and then I just keep at it. And the next thing you know, another little notch that kind of just keeps bringing me up, and just keeps me going, that reminds me that I'm on the right path.
Now, speaking of path, staying on the right track, you seem to have balance. In the introduction, we talked about how you're interested in sports and motorcycles, classic cars. Wow, so what kind of sports do you like that you balance things out with? Do you play sports? Or you like to watch it?
Yeah, I do both. So growing up, I was that kid that played ditch with all the neighbor kids. And I was very much pretty athletic as a kid. I just clicked pretty quickly with lots of sports. So I was on the swim team. I rode horses. I played baseball. I never played softball. I was the only girl on the baseball team. I tried to play on my high school freshman football team. I was like that kid. I was just always trying to kind of pushing boundaries if I can, you can't tell me a girl can't play football, that kind of thing. I was, I played tennis. And then finally in high school, I started playing basketball, and I'd never played basketball before high school, but I was just drawn to it immediately. I took to it really, really well. And I had a coach that just worked with me, and I played all through high school and actually earned a full college basketball scholarship to UC Berkeley. So I was able to do that and graduated from Cal. And then I even tried out twice for the LA Sparks to try to play pro. But I had kind of injured my knee, so that didn't pan out. And actually at that time I was kind of transitioning to start doing more music anyway. So it worked out. My path worked out. But yeah, I still love watching basketball. I love my husband also, he used to play football, so we like to watch, football, at least highlights anyway. I don't have time for full football games, but ESPN is our friend, you know what I mean? So, so
Right. Oh my goodness. So here you are, beautiful singer, just your voice resonates. But you could take it to the hoop too. You're a baller on the court. You know what I mean?
I hold my own. I don't toot my own horn too much, but I'll hold my own, I think, so.
I hope you go easy on your husband a little bit.
We've never played against each other. That was one rule we've had since when we met playing basketball. We've never played against each other. We're always on the same team.
Hey, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Do you have any other projects you're working on right now? Because I noticed you got a lot of collaborations. I hear tracks that I hear your voice on. I'm like, wow, that's really nice over here.
Yeah.
It's just Jeff Bradshaw and Dave Koz, Eric Darius. So it's like, wow, she's really doing some great things here. And then your tracks on your current album is just amazing. Oh. Do you have any other things that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to brainstorm the next project, or it might be a couple singles, or singles leading up to a project. I'm not sure just yet, but I think I want to go a little bit more along the route of a little bit more of an upbeat kind of vibe on this record. Because this last one, I'm so proud of the record, but it's more of a vibe, and it's kind of a mid-tempo and some like ballads and stuff like that. And I think this next one, I want to, kind of tap into a little bit more of my like soul, maybe funk side of things a little bit. So that's my goal. So yeah, I think we're going to kind of play around with ideas for that. Yeah, I'm excited.
Nice. How can our listeners tap into you? How can we connect with you online? Sites, social media, what do you got?
Yeah, so my website's just my name, RebeccaJade.com. And I was able to get all my social media to be the same, which is Lady Rebecca Jade.
Nice. That's easy.
Yep. Easy enough. You can find me on, mostly on like Facebook and Instagram. So people can definitely contact me there, and also direct messages on my website. And also I send out like a once a month, monthly email, just kind of letting folks know, because I have I'm starting to get some fun tour dates all across the country, which I'm very grateful for. And anybody wants to just keep in touch, they can join my mailing list on there. And then I'll just let you know when I'm hopefully in the area. And I hope to be up in Sacramento soon too.
Come on now. Come on. I'm looking for you. We all looking for you up here.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So as we leave, we want our listeners to hear a song that you want them to hear. Give us whatever it is that you have in your mind as to, what you want to play on your album, and whatever track that is, if you can give us a little insight on just, whatever that you have. How was it created? What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, let's see. I would say, and you mentioned it in just not too long ago, but I really love the track Please Come Home. It's one that, it's not none of the singles that I put out, but I love the message in the song is kind of like a message of hope, when it comes to love, like let's try again. But then the music itself is kind of like has this brightness to it, so there's a little bit of like a conflict in that, as far as like the words of the song versus the energy in the music, but I'm kind of drawn to that kind of thing, that kind of those things that maybe don't technically add up, So I love that. And what's cool with that song, which is funny, I actually had those lyrics. I wrote those lyrics like 10 years ago, and I've had them in this book. And I was working with this other producer a long time ago, trying to like come out with my first album, like the one, A Shade of Jade. And he had this other track to those lyrics, and I just did not love the music. And I was like, man, this is not happening for me, so I didn't use it. And I was kind of like brainstorming some other ideas, and I just wasn't clicking. And finally, I reached out to my friend Carnell, and I said, we were already working on the full record. And so I was like, I really want to include this song that I wrote. These lyrics is for this song called Please Come Home, but I'm just not digging the music, And so I was sending him some ideas, and he came up with the music for that track. And I just love how it's got like the jazzy elements, like just a bit of an homage almost to like traditional jazz, you know, it just has that kind of vibe to it.
Yes.
And I just love that, and then so I'm so happy with how the song came out. And so now every time I hear it, I'm just like, my heart is so happy. Because the music to me is like finally it's the right platform for the words to come out. I'm very, very grateful. So I hope listeners enjoy Please Come Home. And
you get to hear it right here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Rebecca, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
That's my honor. Thank you so much, Michael.
It's an hour past midnight. You left after a big fight, so dark I can't even borrow moonlight. See if you're finally coming back home. This might have been the last straw. Maybe we were both wrong. Tell me, what were we fighting on? I don't even know anymore. If you see me coming, will you let me run? we could start again. Young in love before this predicament. What if we were only just friends? It's crossed my mind before. But there's no choosing who you love. What you give is more than enough. I know lately things have been rough, but you're worth fighting for. If you see me come, will you let me run? If you see me coming, will you let me run into your arms? Baby, please come home so the pain can go away. Lately, we've been at it all wrong. Let's try again some other way. Baby, won't you please come on back home to me? Let's take a love plane to where it's supposed to be. Have a fire that can burn eternally. Let's not let it go out, baby. Oh, baby, please come home. Come home to me. Baby, we've been at it all wrong. Come home. Let's try again, like it's supposed to be. We've been at it all wrong. Let's go back to where we belong. Oh.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sac Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to sacsmoothjazz.fm.